Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Saturday, April 15th, 2017. Earlier today, the NBA basketball playoffs began. First games of this season's playoffs started. In addition to the scores, one of the other basketball stories today is the death of the sister of Isaiah Thomas, who's one of the star players for the Boston Celtics, who will play their first playoff game tomorrow, Sunday, April 16th. Isaiah Thomas is from the Seattle, Washington area. He went to school at University of Washington. The Huskies wear the purple. His family lives back here in the Seattle area, and today his younger sister, who's 22 years old, China, spelled the same way as the wrestler who died last April. His 22-year-old sister reportedly at 5 a.m. this morning on I-5 was in a single car accident and died because she didn't have her seatbelt on. That's what is being reported. And supposedly a state trooper named Nick King witnessed the fatal wreck. He was the first responder, Nick King. This accident was in King County. This year, her older brother, Isaiah Thomas in the NBA, has earned the nickname King of the Fourth Quarter. And of course, the biggest star in the NBA is King James, who won the NBA Finals last year on the real King James's birthday. So, where this wreck happened, King County, Washington, where Seattle, Tacoma, Federal Way are. She crashed in Federal Way, which is between Seattle and Tacoma. I'm going to show you a lot that's interesting here. What this has to do with the Celtics' 71st season and the record Isaiah Thomas set this year for the Celtics with 43 straight 20-plus point games. In case you're new to my work, earlier today I put out this video on Jackie Robinson Day, why Jackie Robinson was really called up on the date April 15th, 1947. That was not an arbitrary date. There was a reason he became the first black baseball player in white major league on that date. If you haven't watched this video, I'll link it in the description. What's creeping me out is I ended this video by talking about the death of Jackie Robinson's son in a car accident 1 year, 4 months, and 7 days before Jackie Robinson's heart attack. If you didn't know that, Jackie Robinson lost his 24-year-old son in a single car accident, similar to today's headlines, at age 24. 24, the reflection of 42. Jackie Robinson, number 42. In this video, I explain why Jackie Robinson wore 42, how that's more than just a number. But anyway, what's so bizarre is I end this video by talking about the NBA playoffs, how they're starting today on Jackie Robinson Day. And I even talked about Isaiah Thomas very briefly to close out the video. And notice the video came out to 28 minutes and 8 seconds. I didn't intend any of this. It's just giving me the creeps. I live up here in the Seattle area. I'm not far from this wreck. They're saying this woman died on I-5 at 5 in the morning near 288th Street. I just put out a video, 2808. In the video, I talked about how often celebrities, including athletes, have family members and friends die close to them in ritualistic fashion, connected to their career achievements. For so often in the world of celebrity, even outside of sports, you'll see a person come out with a movie or an album, and then all of a sudden their father dies, or their mother, or their brother, or their sister, or multiple family members. It happens again and again and again. And as I was explaining, to me, these are signs that ritual sacrifice is going on. And, these celebrities, they condone it, as a means of maintaining their status. And as creepy and awful as that sounds, I would encourage everyone to listen to this song and research this song. Murder by Numbers by the band The Police, released in 1983. Sting, who's in that band The Police, the same group that sung Roxanne and, Every Breath You Take, which is kind of a creepy song if you think about it too, I'll Be Watching You. Murder by Numbers, so many times in concerts, he has said very strange things about that song. And if you listen to that song and pay attention to what I'm about to show you in this video, I think you can put two and two together. He's singing about how people are being murdered and ritual sacrifice to boost the status of others. And, see my work last year on the NBA Finals and all the people that dropped dead during the time of the NBA Finals. And see my work on other sports genres. The same thing goes on in all the world of professional sports. So anyway, dead at 5 in the morning on I-5, basketball, a game of 5-on-5. The 288th Street thing really trips me out. Before we get to decoding the wreck, I just want to remind people about Isaiah Thomas's accomplishment in the 71st season of the NBA. This is also the Celtics' 71st season. They're one of the original NBA franchises. On the date of Super Bowl 51, the date Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, February 5th. Remember Paul Pierce, the longtime Celtic, played his last game in Boston with the Clippers. Number 34, Paul Pierce. Later that day, Tom Brady played in his 34th playoff game, getting his 25th playoff win, the AFC's 25th Super Bowl win all time, the record 25-point comeback to close out the 97th season of the NFL. 97's the 25th prime. Bill Belichick equals 97. I told everybody why the Patriots would win the Super Bowl and why it was all about 97 and 25 before the 25-point comeback. See my video that I put out, at the beginning of the playoffs? So many people troll that video and say, this is so stupid to put it out after the Super Bowl, because I talked about all the numbers that ended up being the final score of the game, and so many people haven't realized that that video was made weeks before the Super Bowl was even played. The video is so good that people are trolling it because they think it was made after the Super Bowl. You learn this gematria thing, you see what's going on. But anyway, the date of Super Bowl 51, Isaiah Thomas got his 35th straight 20-point game. And then it was a news story that Tom Brady texted him after the game saying, "You're next." We'll get to that. But Isaiah Thomas equals 51. The Patriots won Super Bowl 51. It was Tom Brady's 51st game-winning drive. The fact that it was Isaiah Thomas's 35th straight 20-plus point game, and he was going for the record of 40 at the time. Remember, Tom Brady in gematria equals 35. Just like Tom Brady's birthday is a date with 35 numerology. The whole Deflategate story, every time they brought up a news story about Deflategate, it was a date with 35 numerology. Whole story is a joke. But also, he was chasing the record of Havlicek, who has named gematria of 35. And as we'll get to, car crash in gematria equals 35. Notice Havlicek also equals 71. Again, this is the 71st season of the NBA. It began October 25th, 2016, a date with 71 numerology, the same day as Game 1 of the World Series, where the Cubs hadn't been in the World Series for 71 years. Anyhow, 71st season, Havlicek 71, Celtics 71. His record got broke in the 71st season by Isaiah Thomas. Something that stood out to me along the way of Isaiah Thomas's path was his game against the 76ers. The 76ers, or the city of Philadelphia, I should say, is the original home of the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors used to be the San Francisco Warriors, and before that they were the Philadelphia Warriors. They won the first basketball championship in the 46-47 season. So regarding the 46-47 season, February 15th is the 46th day of the year. And this was to tie Havlicek's record at 40 straight games. He would then do it against the Bulls for 41. Notice the Bulls finished 41-41 this year. He'd get 42 against Toronto, 43 against the Pistons, and then he'd only score 19 points against the Hawks, meaning he didn't make it to 44. And what's interesting about him not getting 44 is the Hawks are from Georgia. Georgia, Wisconsin, the only two states with 44 gematria. He didn't get 44 against the 44-state team, if you will. But anyway, coming back to 46, last year the Cavs were in their 46th season, and I was explaining the significance of 46 in regards to LeBron James, King James. King James has a Bible named after him. It's 66 books in length. The name LeBron equals 66, so does the name LeBron James. And last year he became the first player to go to 6 straight NBA finals since Bill Russell did it in 66. Since 66. 666. The 66th book of the Bible is Revelation, which teaches about calculating the number 666. The man with wisdom will know how to calculate the number of the beast. The word prophecy has gematria of 666, and so does the NBA Finals, equaling 666 in Sumerian gematria. Prophecy 666. The number 106 also represents prophecy. Remember that Philadelphia train wreck where the train was traveling 106 miles per hour? That happened 2 years ago, May 12th, 2015. And then it also happened last year, April 3rd, outside of Philadelphia, just before Villanova won the college basketball championship. In 2015, it was just before the Warriors won the championship, originally from Golden State. Anyway, in the King James Version of the Bible, Psalm 46 leaves 666 remaining chapters. 666. Last year, LeBron James won the NBA Finals on the real King James's birthday. Philadelphia is named from the book of Revelation, the book of prophecy and destruction that teaches about 666. From the date of this game, February 15th, to the start of the NBA Finals, June 1st, is 106 days. Prophecy equals 106, destroy 106, entertain 106. Remember, the Warriors play in the 106-foot-tall Oracle Arena. Both Steph Curry and LeBron James, born in Akron, Ohio, which equals 106, and so much more. Nate Thurmond was born in Akron, Ohio, died 27 days after Game 7 at age 74. But anyway, just remember that Isaiah Thomas tied this record with Havlicek against Philadelphia and then would go on to break it. And he did it by the numbers. You know, I've been keeping my eye on this, wondering if this could mean that the Celtics could upset the Cavs. Since Game 1, I've said why I think there will be a three-peat between the Warriors and Cavs, playing each other again for the third time in a row. I could be wrong about that. If I'm wrong about either the Warriors or the Cavs, I would say that it's more likely that the Cavs could be eliminated by the Celtics. The only threat to the Warriors, well, I could dream up two narratives in the West besides the Warriors, but I don't see the Warriors losing. One narrative would be for the Spurs, of course. If there was another team to surprise, it would be the Clippers, who joined the NBA the same year the Cavaliers did. Portland Trailblazers, Buffalo Braves, and Cleveland Cavaliers all joined the NBA in the same season. The Buffalo Braves are now the Los Angeles Clippers. But the day that Isaiah Thomas's streak ended against the Hawks, it was February 27th, very special date, and it was a date with 66 numerology. And I wonder if that's symbolic, you know, the streak being broken on what you might call LeBron date. The score of that game was 114 to 98. LeBron James equals 114. Chosen one equals 98, like what's on his shoulder. Isaiah Thomas, 1 point shy, bad shooting night, 4 of 21. So anyway, that's that. Let's get to the car accident of his sister today. Just understand he's had this completely scripted NBA season, and now his sister's death, it ties in with this same ongoing script. So here we are in the 71st season. You know, the playoffs are just starting today. Celtics, I don't think anybody picked the Celtics to beat the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, or, you know, the Eastern Conference standings, I mean, at the beginning of the season. Maybe some Boston writers. But anyway, 71st season of the NBA began on a date with 71 numerology. October 25th, 10 plus 25, 35, plus 20 more, 55, plus 16, 71. 10, 25, 2016, the date the season began. Anyway, in gematria, car crash 71 like Celtics, like Havlicek. Isaiah Thomas beat this man's record this year. The small way, car crash 35, like Havlicek, like Celtics, also like King James. Remember, this happened in King County. On the data Super Bowl 51, remember Isaiah Thomas equals 51. The headline was Isaiah Thomas says Tom Brady texted him after Super Bowl 51. It's your turn next. Earlier that day, Isaiah Thomas had his 35th straight 20-point game. It's your turn next equals 74 like Masonic. Remember last year after game 1 of the NBA Finals, Muhammad Ali died at age 74. He became boxing champion in 64. The same year the Cavs, or not the Cavs, but the city of Cleveland had last won a pro sports championship. That was with the Cleveland Browns, led by Jim Brown. Talk about Manchurian athletes. It's your turn next, 74, just like Masonic. By the way, go back and watch my video from 2014 on Muhammad Ali. I said why we would see Muhammad Ali pass at age 74. A number of sacrifice routinely throughout history. Again, Nate Thurmond dropped dead at age 74, 27 days after LeBron scored 27 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And I'm pretty sure we figured out who LeBron's father was when Nate Thurmond dropped dead, number 42, who played for the Warriors and Cavs. You know, these teams that have met 2 years in the finals with both of their star players from Akron, Ohio, just like Nate Thurmond. You know, 2 years ago I said why the finals would be Warriors and Cavs for the first time because of Nate Thurmond. Look at Nate Thurmond. He looks like LeBron James. Right now, Isaiah Thomas is 28 years old. Special number, a perfect number. Look up what perfect numbers are. They trace back to Euclid, who's very important to Freemasonry. 28, one of very few perfect numbers. The word man in gematria equals 28, special age. Isaiah Thomas, 28, having a record season. From his birthday to today is the 67th day. Turned 28 on February 7th. April 15th, his sister dead 67 days later. Blood sacrifice equals 67. The word king also has gematria of 67. Dead in King County. Nick King, the state trooper witness. In case you're new to my work, I'm talking about this number all the time. I'm pretty sure I even just talked about it this morning in the Jackie Robinson video. Or if not, I talked about it in recent days. I talk about it all the time. I said why Prince would die in February of 2016, and I talked about 67 in regards to Vanity, his former girlfriend, who died before the 58 Grammys, and lo and behold, Prince died 67 days later. Again and again, people die by this number. His sister died 67 days after his birthday. So her name is China, spelled the same way as the wrestler who died last April. It's weird. Last year when when China died, it was reported she died on April 20th. Now a year later, they're saying she actually died April 17th. But anyway, this girl, her name is reported as China J. Thomas, 22, sister of NBA Isaiah Thomas. The way they spell her name has gematria 47. You know, the first season of the basketball league ended in 47. The Celtics part of that season. It's the Cavs' 47th season. Special number, the 47 degrees of the Freemason compass. Jackie Robinson called up in 47 because it has everything to do with Freemasonry, who's controlling professional sports and so much more. Her name has a lot of interesting gematria. 61 is a number that represents time. Ohio has gematria of both 61 and 47. 137 is the 33rd prime number. Very special number to the Celtics franchise. Massachusetts equals 33. You know, Bird equals 33. He wore number 33. His greatest foe, Magic 33. The Celtics and Lakers. The Celtics lead the NBA with 17 championships. The Lakers have won 16. 17 plus 16, 33. NBA Finals in gematria equals 33. Just know 137, the 33rd prime. And in case you're new here, you know, I'll link this calculator. Very easy to verify. 137, the 33rd prime number. You know, just come here and write Bird. You know he wore number 33. You know, write Magic. So many NBA stars are 33 named gematria. You know, so many. Almost all of them. Almost every star you can think of, you know? You seeing it all? Just a 33 show in the NBA. One of my oldest videos, the NBA, a 33 league. So anyway, 137, the 33rd prime. I guess the only one I forgot to show you was Massachusetts, right? Only 3 states have 33 name gematria. The first state, Delaware. The 50th and final state, Hawaii. And Massachusetts, like I just showed you. And if you count reverse reduction, which does also count, I guess technically there's a 4th. But I didn't learn about this method until, 3 years after I started this research. And I'm glad I did. But anyway, look at her name. It also has the 187 coding, number very much connected to death and ritual killing. Just talked about, the death of Charlie Murphy, the 187 coded on it with John Mayer having the ritual for him the day of his death, 187 days from his own birthday. These numbers show up again and again if you pay attention. So, something else I was thinking about. You remember last year the Celtics snapped the Warriors winning streak in their own building, the record 54-game win streak. That same night, the Cavs earned their 54th win of the season against the Hawks. Both games were back-to-back on ESPN. All part of the script. Anyway, here's what I'm thinking about. Tacoma, Federal Way, Seattle, they're all on the 122nd meridian and the 47th parallel. Just like Oakland is on the 122nd meridian. We'll talk more about why that meridian is so significant. But I'm just thinking about the relationship here. There's this riddle going with the Warriors, the Cavs, the Celtics. And again, what you should know is in gematria, NBA equals 17. The Celtics lead the NBA with 17 wins. Ohio's the 17th state, and the Cavs were the 17th team to join the NBA. 17. So, in the Eastern Conference Finals, it makes sense that we'll see a Celtics-Cavs Finals. It's all about 17. That's the riddle this year. Here we are in 2017. But I think, no matter what in the West, we're going to see the Warriors representing. And it will likely be against the Cavs, possibly also the Celtics if I'm mistaken. But it's this same meridian which we're going to get to, the 122nd. We talked about how she just died 67 days after, her brother's birthday. The Warriors this year won the West with 67 wins, fitting number. This woman who died today, I should have mentioned that West has gematria of 22 as well, but she was 22 years old, basketball 22, Boston 22, Thomas 22, King 22, again dead in King County, Nick King the witness. Fitting age to be, a ritual. With regards to her being 22 years old, dying 67 days after her birthday on the 122nd meridian, notice how this all connects to the word satanic. And remember, Satanism is self-worship. And, excuse me, it's allergy season out here. The NBA created the MVP award in the 55 season. The MVP award's what I call the Me award. Basketball's supposed to be a team game, so why make it about the individual? The MVP award in the year 55. They said this woman was killed at 5 a.m. on Interstate 5. Basketball, a game of 5-on-5. Satanism is self-worship. That's what you need to understand. And just how selfish can you get? Will you give up your own family members for your own celebrity fame? Sadly, it seems that there's a lot of people in this world that are willing to, If this story's even real, just things that I have to shrug at. Supposedly, his sister was driving a 1998 Toyota Camry. And, Toyota Camrys, they last forever. A lot of people still driving 98 Toyota Camrys. But, she's the sister of an NBA player. These guys, they make $100,000 a half. These guys are getting paid an insane amount of money. Some guys are making way more money than that. I just got to imagine, you're helping your sister out so she doesn't have to drive the 98 Toyota Camry anymore. And a part of me wonders if this is all signs that, the whole story is bogus. Perhaps she really is murdered and then they create a false car accident to say that's what caused it. Or perhaps the whole thing's just made up because who's going to be able to prove otherwise? The year 98 really stands out. See my video earlier this year on Derrick Rose in 98? He has that commercial with the shoes and the 9.8. The Celtics are about to play the Bulls. I know Derrick Rose is out, but this number has some significance. Again, it also connects to Chosen One, what's tattooed on LeBron's shoulder. With regards to the car being a Toyota Camry has gematria of 156 in the ordinal method, just like Boston Celtics. And I should have mentioned here or wrote it out, just like 33. We were just talking about the significance of 33. You see? 33 fitting right in. The officer who was the witness, Nick King sums to 42 like Freemason, like LeBron James, King James, Nick King, King County. Remember last year we saw the Oklahoma City Thunder have a lot of deaths connected to their team, and, they ended up taking the Warriors to the brink of the Western Conference Finals, but ultimately they lost. So I want to remind people, just because deaths are connected to a team doesn't mean their team's going to win, It's best to just observe. But also, interstate has gematria 41, like the word king. Again, this is in King County. They call Isaiah Thomas the little guy. You'll see articles emphasized with just little guy and the little guy. Little guy 41, like king. They're calling him the king of the fourth quarter this year. Also, there's plenty of articles. If you just search the little guy, you'll see it emphasized next to articles about Isaiah Thomas. 56 gematria, like today's numerology. The death of his sister. The death of the little guy's sister. Here in this part of the article, they refer to her as China Thomas instead of China J. Thomas like they did at the beginning. If you just write her name as China Thomas, it sums to 46 like sacrifice, like Federal Way. Again, it was the 46th day of the year where he tied, the record of Havlicek. And you know what? Let's measure from that date. That is the final day of Lupercalia. That's also the day Vanity died. Vanity equals 46 in gematria. That was the girlfriend of Prince, and because of her death, I was able to predict the death of Prince months before it happened. I just want to see this. From the 46th day of the year to today, April 15th is what? 59 days. Isn't that something? The word kill in Jewish gematria is 59. The word Negro is 59. Slave 59. Blues 59. Jack Robinson is 59, which is Jackie Robinson's birth name. He wasn't born Jackie. That's his nickname. Jackie in gematria sums to 42, like the most hateful word for black people. Anyway, 59. Other numbers stamped all over black people throughout history. 59 days since he tied the record. Unreal. Unreal. And you know what? Now that I think about it, Truth Seeker, accident equals 59, just like kill in Jewish gematria. I didn't mean to write that. Look at the ordinal. Negro, slave, blues. I'll type in Belgian Congo because they say in 1959 AIDS was discovered in the Belgian Congo. Yeah, these rituals, they're always synced up the same way. And it is just so strange to me that her name's China, and last April it was China being found dead. Something I noticed about the Cavs and Celtics, they've never played each other in the playoffs before. Or, you know what, before I give you some bad information, hold on. Hold on. You can just do the search Celtics, Cavaliers head-to-head. You search the two team names. This website, Land of Basketball. How do I get their playoff records? True Seeker. One more search here. Okay, here we go. Regular season, NBA playoffs. All right, so they've played each other 34 times all time. It's a best of 7. If they went the full 7, they'd make it to 41 games. And again, 41 connects to King. You know, I think we can. I can think we can suspect a Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals. Just doing a little investigative work here. If the Celtics won the series, they'd have 22 wins, the basketball number. If the Cavs won the series, they'd have 20. We'll pay attention to what happens in the playoffs, you know. I could see the narrative for the Celtics playing the Warriors based on them being the team to snap the winning streak in Oracle Arena. You know, there'd be a riddle there with that. But there's been a lot of clues that we're going to see a Cavs-Warriors rematch. So I'm not coming off that, but we're going to pay attention. I also noticed, though, that their regular season matchup heading into these playoffs, the Cavs are at 78 wins against the Celtics, Cleveland 78, NBA Finals 78, Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics both equal 78. The last time they played, the Cavs won with 114 points. LeBron James equals 114, you know. From the date of the Super Bowl that the Boston area team won, New England, to the start of the NBA Finals June 1st is 117 days. You know, Tom Brady's the face of the NFL, LeBron James the face of the NBA. 117, span of 117 days. Ohio equals 117. They won their first game of the season with 117 points. You know, the only two teams playing each other with the 33 connections. Cleveland, 33. New York, 33. Cavs won by 29. Ohio equals 29 in reduction. The Undertaker was there. The Undertaker just lost in WrestleMania 33, didn't he? So, you know, maybe that's telling us something. That doesn't mean the Cavs aren't going to make it to the finals, but perhaps that's a clue that should the Cavs end up in the finals, maybe it'll go in favor of Steph Curry, the other star player from Ohio. Some relationship here. and if you think this stuff's a joke, like 117, I mean, just search Google right now. I mean, just, you pay attention to gematria. This is done all the time, and it is way beyond coincidence. October 25th, 2016, Cavs box score. I mean, look at what comes up. A video that's a minute 17 long. It's like this all day, every day when you pay attention. And also, Truth Seeker. I'm going to link this blog post down below. I want you to know that Celtics equals 118 like death. See my work on the deaths of Len Bias and Reggie Lewis. 2 men dead by the numbers, both Boston Celtics. And also definitely watch my Jackie Robinson video if you get a chance. There was this interesting article that came out last year about Larry Bird, how he suspects he'll die before he turns 75. You know, just look at the numbers that they put in the articles. The 41-year-old coach. These numbers are special. 41's the 13th prime. Last year, LeBron won the NBA Finals on a date with 41 numerology. 41 the 13th prime number. It was his 13th season. But this date remembered here for Larry Bird. It's a date with 118 numerology, in this article that's talking about how he sees his early death. Series with the Bulls, Celtics and Bulls, article about death. I mean, just think about the parallels here. Now, Isaiah Thomas about to face the Bulls. We just saw Jerry Krause die by the numbers, and I said his death showed that North Carolina was going to win the college championship, But anyway, the date mentioned, the same numbers we're talking about, 118. Death equals 118. Death also equals 38 the day of this article. 47. Celtics began in 47. 137, the 33rd prime, Larry says he doesn't see he'll make it to 75. You don't see many 7-footers walking around at the age of 75. He sees himself dying before 75. And the reason that's so interesting is because Larry equals 74. Remember, we just talked about this number. Larry, 74. Muhammad, 74. We often see 74 paired with 33. Jesus equals 74. Cross, 74. Jesus on the cross at age 33. Out of the 50 states, only the 33rd state, Oregon, sums to 74. For anyone who's watched this far and thinks maybe this is all coincidence, maybe the next thing to go do is find this book written by the former Major League Baseball player Darren Daulton. He wrote a book called If They Only Knew About Numerology and Occultism, and he published it on the date that Jackie Robinson died, October 24th. And Jackie Robinson's death does not look natural at all. See the video I put out this morning. Another ritual in the numbers. Darren Daulton also has gematria of 147, like Freemason, like conspiracy, like World Series. If they only knew, And, so many people say, well, how come the truth's not out there? So many people have come to my work and said, well, if this were true, then how come nobody's ever said it before? I mean, how many people have said it before and we just don't know? Darren Daulton's book's been out since 2007. I just found out this morning. I've been doing this research all this time. I didn't even know. How many more things exist like this in the world that people aren't acknowledging? Don't you think that this pro player is trying to clue you into exactly what I'm talking about? Numerology and occultism? We're just talking about 74. Occultists, Freemasonry, based in Gnostic teachings, old world magical knowledge. Again, magic is 33, Freemasonry, keepers of knowledge, practitioners of gematria. You don't think the people who run the NBA practice gematria? Do you know who the commissioner is right now? Adam Silver, very Jewish. Silver 85, like basketball. Adam Silver. Notice also the 77. There's a reason they call it jewelry. Judaism 77. There's a reason your nation's headquarters, Washington, D.C., is on the 77th meridian. It's because this nation's always been run by the same people. The Freemasons, the Zionist Jews. So, anyway, Truth Seeker, I went extra slow to make sure people understand. If you got time, come down. These blog posts are all linked in the description. You can watch the Jackie Robinson video right here. You can watch the playlist on the death of the Celtics at the bottom of this post. If you're in the Seattle area and you want to help get out the word, I'm in the area. You can get a room of people who are willing to listen, who want to help get the word out. You just let me know. I'll come there. We'll let people know what's up. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.